in.
Yeah, and you can do that several times a day.
Breathe out several times a day.
Know, and sometimes people don't even know that you're doing it.
No,
right?
right.
You can just
So when you're in a meeting
quietly.
and things are stressful, just go within.
Deep breathing.
Right, breathe.
Yes.
And actually, like 3 or 4 deep breaths can reset you in ways that are just incredible, right?
Yes, most definitely. So it takes us out of the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight, and it puts us into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our restful state.
Yeah.
So one of the things that does is when you're in that fight or flight response, your brainstem takes over. That's our primal brain.
Yeah, let's talk about that, Marta, because that's a big area in terms of stress, anxiety. Anxiety is one of the issues that I have to balance all the time because of the way I'm just like, okay, I've got to just calm. There isn't a tiger in the bush. It could be a rabbit, but in my mind I'm thinking it's a tiger, and I'm overreacting and overthinking. Yes. And so just coping with anxiety and just having different tools, it's helped me tremendously. Yeah. So let's talk about the sympathetic nervous system versus the parasympathetic, the flight or flight versus like the relaxed, calm state, because people are wondering, like, why am I anxious? Why am I worried? What does that mean? And maybe some tools on how to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which can help with so many health issues.
It can.
Yes.
It really can. So the thing about the body is that the brainstem, which is our primal brain, it's the part of the brain that develops first in the womb. And so it's our instinct, and so it responds to stress, regardless of what kind of stress it is. It responds to it in exactly the same way. And so it doesn't matter if there's a bear chasing you or if you just have a tight deadline at work. It makes no difference.
It makes no difference.
The body responds exactly the same way. And so its response from the brainstem is to completely freak out and to go, oh my gosh, we're not safe.
We're not safe. That's the thing. It's like, I'm not safe. And
its job is to keep you safe. And so that's its response. Oh my gosh, we're not safe. And so this is where a lot of the fear comes from, the anxiety that we deal with.
That's so good.
Yes, and so to short circuit that.
Short circuit, here we go. Listen, take notes.
So to do the deep breathing, and basically, and you could do all kinds of different types of breath, but really just the deep breathing into the diaphragm, into that lower abdomen, right? And sometimes it takes a little practice if we're not used to doing that. Because we're in that stress response all the time, then we tend to breathe shallowly.
Right. So if someone's listening,
that.
So and cultivate and just kind of nurture that and just get in the practice of doing it. Right. Yes. So if someone's listening or watching today, because we're on Facebook Live, hi Facebook Live. Hi. So if someone's listening or watching and they're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I even start a deep breathing practice? Or can you just kind of like, just, how do you do it? Like inhale through your nose, exhale. What's your practice like? What recommendation do you have?
So I recommend breathing through the nose.
Breathing through, like deep.
And so to breathe in a count of 4, and then to hold the breath for a count of 2, and then to breathe out for a count of 4, and then to hold the breath for a count of 2 again.
So 4, 2, 4, 2.
Yes. So it's very simple.
Inhale, 4.
Practice.
Right.
Yes, but if you do that, then that really slows the breath.
Yeah.
And it also helps to calm the body and calm the brain.
Yes.
Now, one of the biggest effects of taking the body out of that sympathetic nervous system and into the parasympathetic, which is the resting and relaxing state.
Correct.
One of the things that does is it moves the brain function to the frontal lobe. So the frontal lobe is where we make all of our good decisions. It's our rational thinking center. So it takes us out of that primal instinctive brain and into the thinking, the reasoning part of our brain. So we make better decisions.
Okay.
So if you're not sure of what you want to do, you're not sure of where you're going, and you need to make some decisions and your primal brain is freaking out, stop and do some deep breathing.
Okay.
And then get back to and think about it again. Because you will make much better decisions and you will think through situations much better after you've done that. Because it actually puts the brain function into the frontal lobe.
Into the frontal lobe.
Yes.
Which is powerful. So there you have it, friends. Give it a go. Keep practicing. Keep doing it over. I think you have to just make it. You have to practice the practice, right?
You do. You do. And it's a discipline of the mind.
And it's worth it.
Yeah, it is absolutely worth it. It helps you to calm and organize your thoughts. And the more you practice it, the better you get at it. One of the tips that I saw just recently, which I absolutely loved, was whenever you're waiting in line somewhere or you're waiting for your computer to reboot and it's taking forever. Or anything that you're having to waiting at a stoplight, and you're feeling anxious and you're feeling in a hurry, just shift that thinking a little bit and go, oh, an opportunity to breathe.
Oh, an opportunity to breathe.
Yes. So I don't have to be stressed. I don't have to be worried. This is just life giving me a moment to do a little bit of deep breathing because I'm a little stressed.
I like it.
And so the more and more that you begin to do that, the more the brain will automatically go there.
Yeah, and in addition to that, it's paying attention to how you feel when you do it, right? Which will motivate and encourage you to want to do it often, because it's amazing how the shift happens and you calm down, you're more clear, you're more centered, you're more focused, because sometimes I'm in meetings and there's a lot going on.
Absolutely.
And I have to stay focused on the desired outcome.
Yes.
And I have to just breathe in the meeting. Like, there's like, well, Jackie, why are you so quiet? It's like, well, I'm listening now. And breathing. And I really appreciate having that as a tool in my tool belt or my toolkit, because it helps me from being triggered in a sense, right? Okay, when there's a lot going on and all the comments are going on, it's okay, what are we committed to doing? And how do I just stay centered and focused so that I can move the team towards the outcome that we've all committed to doing, right? And so deep breathing, you guys, if you're listening or if you're watching, please know it. That's one practice that will, I think in a sense, having that as a regular practice can actually help with cultivating well-being and wellness, right?
It does. It does. It really helps you to cultivate mindfulness, and to really pay attention to what are your behaviors during the day, what things are you responding to, how do you feel?
Right.
How do you feel in your body? How do you feel in your mind? And really paying attention to those things, because when you stop and get a little quiet, then things start to pop up and you're like, oh, where did that thought come from?
Correct.
And so the mind wants to be disciplined. And and it works much better when it's disciplined. It's a tool.
It's a tool. It's there to serve us, right?
So the more that you hone and help that tool to grow and to really give it what it needs, which is the discipline, the better it's going to work for you.
Yeah, I was talking to some friends. I was like, you don't realize how much your mind is like a wild monkey.
Yes, all the time.
Right? Until you're like, okay, I need you to calm down, sit down, and relax, right?
Yes.
We're going to sit still, and we're going to get quiet. We're going to have some quiet time.
And the more that you practice the deep breathing, the more that you'll find, the sooner you start it, and your body will respond much sooner.
Correct.
So if you start to get that practice working, then eventually your mind will just start to, you do that first deep breath and your mind goes, oh, I see where she's going with this. It's time to stop. It's time to calm down.
She's not going to yield. I need to get on board because she's not going to yield.
I know what this is.
I know what this is, right?
Just might as well do it now.
So you retrain, reprogram your brain, right? Because
really
it's totally capable of being, you can retrain your brain, yeah.
Most definitely.
Right, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the Thermography Center of Dallas. Let's talk about kind of like what you do, your protocol. Let's say someone's listening or watching and they're wondering why they should come and visit you. What are some benefits of the Thermography Center, the thermogram, and just kind of what you do in your space, which is totally gorgeous. And
oh, thank you.
I just love how comprehensive the report is, and then the follow-up with you where you walk through the feedback and make recommendations. You're really good at what you do. And so
thank you.
That's
very nice of you.
Yes.
But so we start with the thermography exam. So the thermography exam consists of 3 different sections, if you will. So we start out by taking the temperature of the skin at 119 different points on the head and torso. Now it's funny, people come in all the time and they're like, oh, I was expecting this great big machine. But really, our equipment is very small and very portable. It's basically a tablet, and we have a Bluetooth thermography wand, and we just use the wand to take the temperature of the skin. And so it, feeds into the tablet, and that's really all we need to generate the report. So it's not a big scary room or anything like that. It's not like full of medical equipment.
No, it's not.
It's just a very calm, relaxing, comfortable room. And it is a private room, so and that's important, because after we take those first 119 points, then we have you remove your outer clothing down to your underwear.
Right.
And so the most uncomfortable thing about the whole test is just standing in your underwear in a
strange
cold room.
And it's cold.
It's a little chilly.
It's a little chilly, yeah.
We keep it between 68 and 72 degrees, so it's not like overly frigid in there, but it's cool enough.
It's chilly, it's cool enough,
And so we're doing that on purpose. We're submitting the body to a cooling challenge. And so then we come back in and we take all those 119 different points again. And so there are specific ways that they're supposed to respond. And so based on how they actually do respond, we can tell a lot about the health of the tissues and organs. Okay. Now, this testing was developed by a German doctor and a German dentist about 40 years ago. So they actually worked in the hospitals. So they had all kinds of tools to cross-reference and test what they were seeing with the thermography. And so they did a 15,000-person study. And they used 40,000 thermograms. Okay. And so then they cross-referenced those with other testing that they had available. So blood testing and urine testing and tissue samples and all kinds of different things to really ensure that what they thought they were seeing is really what they were seeing.
Interesting.
So they developed this technology, and then it's been in use in Europe for about 40 years now.
Has it really?
It really has.
I never heard of it until you actually mentioned it to me. Like, it's like, Marta, what is it?
It's
I was like,
crazy.
It's amazing as well, yeah. Okay.
And they use it in the hospitals and the clinics. So the Paracelsus Clinic is the largest holistic clinic in the world, and they don't see a patient without a thermogram. And they see thousands of patients every year. So it's well in use in Europe. So it's very well vetted technology. It is FDA accepted in this country. Yeah. As an adjunct diagnostic tool. And it's just a really important complement to any kind of testing that you're already doing. I would say everyone should get one every year as part of a comprehensive physical, Yeah. And it's really going to give you a lot of good information. So once we complete the exam, with every patient that we see, we sit down and do a comprehensive review. Right. So that they really leave understanding what's in the report. Because that's really important. That gives us the empowerment to take that information to whatever practitioner we're working with and say, look, this is what my testing says, and what are we going to do about that?
Right. And let's talk about in terms of like what the report, which it picks up on all the systems. So kind of tell us like which systems, what that looks like, your kidneys, your liver, your heart. Just kind of walk people through if they were to, if they decide to make an appointment with you, that it's very comprehensive and kind of get some details about what makes it comprehensive, because it's thorough.
It is, and it can be a little overwhelming.
It's a lot of information to take in. However, you're armed with information where you feel empowered. It's like, okay, well, here are some opportunities. I have the information in front of me. What's next?
Yes, absolutely. And so a lot of the things that it covers, things that are affecting you systemically. So things like global immune stress, detoxification pathways, things like that the body overall is struggling with. So it talks about those things. It takes the body by different sections, but it looks at all of the different organs. It looks at the endocrine system, the cardiovascular system, the lymphatic system, the immune system. So it's testing all of these different, not only the organs, but how they're functioning within the systems. So how the body is integrated. Right. How it's functioning overall, and then, how it's interacting, all the different parts of it. We test things like thyroid health. I can't tell you how many women have come to us and looked at their report and said, I've been telling my doctor for years that my thyroid was off.
And here's another thing. I know friends who are actually taking thyroid medication because, like, their T3, T4. I remember my doctor tried to get me on. I was like, well, if I take the medication, how is it going to correct the issue, right? How do I get my levels?
And it doesn't. It does correct not, the issue. Right? It just alleviates
the symptoms. Right.
Yeah. So it basically replaces your own thyroid hormone. But very often what we find is that if you do that, then the organ that you're replacing will attrition. So it doesn't work quite so hard.
Interesting.
Because it's not having to produce that hormone because it's already there.
It's already there.
We
Interesting.
find that with the adrenals also. So very often people will be put on cortisol to help their adrenals because their adrenals are not producing enough natural cortisol.
Right.
And so what we find is that when people, after a while, have been on that cortisol supplement, the pharmaceutical version of it, then their adrenals don't work as well.
Interesting.
They kind of get lazy.
So I don't have to do much work here. So
hard. And so then the nutrition, and they don't work as well. And then you have to take more cortisol, So we would rather support the adrenals and get them working better so that they produce their own cortisol. So those are just examples,
Right.
of how we can really support the body and start to bring it back into balance instead of just alleviating the symptoms. Because what we find, too, is that symptoms are the body's warning system.